Let's make some noise. Come on.
Thank you, Nick Foles. And Merry Christmas, Nick Foles. Super Bowl MVP, patron saint of the final word here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. And, of course, Merry Christmas to you all out there in TV land. It is I hope you've had a great day. It's Christmas Day. It's Christmas Day night. Festivities maybe in your life are winding down. Maybe they're not. I don't know. I don't know what side of that Christmas coin you come out on. There's that pre-parenthood coin where, you know, Christmas Eve you might have went out a little bit and had some fun and then slept in today. And now at 9 o'clock, you're sort of just kind of catching your second wind, you know, sitting down with some friends and maybe recapturing what you did on Christmas Eve. And then there's the parent side of the Christmas Day coin, which you've probably been up since about 5 o'clock this morning after getting to bed around 1 o'clock, depending on what scale of the parent thing you're on. I remember, you know, when they're younger, it's a lot harder because you're assembling toys in the middle of the night. For those of you under the age of 10 who are watching, it's to help out Santa. Yeah. Santa just drops them off. We got to assemble them. He doesn't do assembly too well. So you're up late putting together toys. Then you're up early because, boy, ain't no one sleeping in on Christmas morning if you're a parent of children. Hell, I remember I was probably 16, 17 still having a problem sleeping at night. So Merry Christmas to you all. Depending on what side of that coin you're on, I hope you're feeling all right on this 9 o'clock hour on Christmas Day. It's great to be back for our final episode of the broadcast week. Had a quiet night. Quiet night in Philadelphia sports. Nothing yesterday, except if you were a Hawaii Bowl fan out there in Honolulu. They played a bowl game, if anybody cared. Is that why they put that game on Christmas Eve? Because they know no one else will watch it if it's up against anything else. And today you had 3 football games and a couple basketball games. I don't really know what the basketball schedule was, but I do know there were 3 football games, and one of them, or the final one, is on right now. So big news in the NFL. Detroit out. Eliminated. See ya. Bye-bye. The Minnesota Vikings, in their net of 3 yards passing, defeated the Detroit Lions today, sending them into the land of elimination and continuing this weird and wonky 2025 NFL season. It's amazing, man. Absolutely amazing. And earlier today, the Viking or the Commanders, Redskins, whatever the hell they are, lost to the Cowboys. That's unfortunate. But yeah, Detroit, obviously the big story today around football. They are out of the playoffs in 2025. So we'll get into some of that. Eagles are preparing to play on Sunday against Buffalo in a game that yesterday they issued out. I guess they had a little practice yesterday and still missing some of the key members of this football team. Kind of bows to the conversation we started and we've had all week. Do you sit the starters? Do you play the starters? Do you risk further injury to other players for the possibility of just moving up one seeding? Or do you just sort of let the dogs lie where they are and go into what you got to be? So we'll continue that conversation. We got some hockey news tomorrow in Minnesota. The 2026 WJC, the World Junior Championships, will kick off, featuring some of the, if not the best, hockey talent in junior level in the world. If you're interested to see the future of the NHL, then you should be tuned in tomorrow through January 5th. And it's also a nice little appetizer for the Olympics, as Team USA will put their title on the line tomorrow and try to, I think, we're talking three-peat now, aren't we? Yeah, we're talking three-peat if they win this year, as they will try to three-peat in WJC hockey action. The Flyers will have a few of their prospects on display for Team Canada. I only looked at Team Canada and Team USA's roster. I have not looked at the other countries to see who's all participating, but I know in Team Canada, Porter Martone and Jet Lachenko made the squad. And for Team USA, a player that we profiled the other night on our prospect of the night segment, Shane Versace, has made the team. So there'll be some Flyer prospects on display. There also will be some of the future of the NHL, the current draft class that's getting ready to be drafted in 2026. They'll be on display. So if you're into hockey and if you're into seeing what the future of the NHL holds, tune in tomorrow on the NHL Network as the 2026 WJC championships will begin, or tournament, not championships, but well, they are championships, but it's a tournament. And the race to the possibility of Team USA three-peating is on. So we'll talk that. Flyers are on their holiday break, sitting at a healthy 19-10, and they'll get things rolling here on Sunday as they go on their annual pre-New Year's Western Canada / Pacific Northwest road trip. It's going to be a hell of a week on post-game duties here on the Clear the Ice program, as we got a lot of late nights going into the new year. So, but we'll be there. One of us will be there. Either me or Mike will be there to talk all of the latest of Flyer post-game news. So all that stuff tonight. We got our card of the night. We got our of the night segment, and we got our day in Philadelphia sports history. So it is all on the table on a very quiet night in Philadelphia sports. I noticed, did the Sixers play today? Anybody help me out with that? I could care less what the Sixers are doing. No idea if they play. But I know there was some basketball. And for those of you that are wondering, here's the schedule for the rest of your week. We've made it through the Christmas break. Yesterday we did our best of, showed some of the shows that we had done earlier in the week. I thought that was pretty cool. A lot of hours of entertainment as we replayed some of that stuff. Tomorrow, you got Big Al and the Philly Friday Frenzy. Saturday, we got some Penn State, Clemson, Happy Valley Huddle, Pinstripe Bowl, post-game action, and then a huge day of festivities on the tap for Sunday. Philly AM Sports. We got some Steel City pre and post. Eagles post-game. Me on the final word as I'll return for our new broadcast week on Sunday night. And then later on in the witching hour around midnight, you got some Flyers cracking Clear the Ice as we'll get you going here into your New Year's week. We go from one holiday to the next. And here is our Clear the Ice schedule for next week. Mike will have you Sunday night. I'm burning the midnight oil on Tuesday and Wednesday. I will be your host on New Year's Eve. I'm going to be one of the first faces you see in 2026. How does that grab you? And then I also got you on Saturday. Or Mike has you on Saturday against the Edmonton Oilers for the final game of this little Western Canadian trip. So Mike, Mike on the Clear the Ice next week as we'll get ready for this late night hockey. Ain't nothing like it, man. Late night hockey. So let's hit it. Let's get on with your day in Philadelphia sports history. Let's strap in, strap off, strap on, keep your head, hands, and feet inside the car at all times. Here we go. Your day in Philadelphia sports history. Christmas Day, 1986. The Sixers' gift to the Washington Bullets came back to haunt them. Moses Malone, the hero of the 83 championship team, traded the previous June to the Bullets, made his return to Philadelphia on Christmas Day for the first time against his former team, scoring 28 points to go with 21 rebounds and 5 blocks in a 102-97 win over the Sixers. Clearly, he had a lot of left in the tank. Malone sadly passed away on September 13, 2015, at the age of 60. Of course, Moses was the missing piece to get the Sixers over the hump in the early 80s, as they just could not do it without him, and they brought him in the 82-83 season, and, of course, capturing an NBA championship, the last NBA championship in Sixers history. And then as the team began to age out, Dr. J, of course, aging out, Charles Barkley coming in, Moses Malone aging out, the Sixers decided at one point in draft night, I believe it was in 86, that trading Moses Malone to the Washington Bullets for Jeff Malone made sense. I guess they thought it made sense, and it did. It did not. Oh, no, not Jeff Malone. It was Jeff Rutland. That's who it was, the big white guy whose knees were shot. He was traded to the Washington Bullets for Moses Malone. Moses didn't have much left in the tank either, but he had at least a couple more seasons. Just a dreadful trade. And, of course, that got everybody ready for the trade that would sink the Sixers ship by trading that first-round draft pick, which was Brad Daugherty, to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Roy Hinson. And that really kind of ended the whole thing. You know, it was falling apart, but that last trade, the Brad Daugherty thing, that just completely submarined the Sixers for years as mismanagement and not understanding and reading the room and all that just led to Sixers' downfall in the mid-'80s. Such a promising elite squad in the late 70s, early 80s, obviously highlighted by Doc and you know, those players, Andrew Toney, Mo Cheeks, you know, Bobby Jones. It was just a great thing to see, and it just sort of imploded on them, and obviously they accelerated it with some bad trades. But tonight, Moses Malone came back to haunt them as the Sixers would lose to the Bullets on this day in 1986 as Moses led the way for the Washington Bullets. And that is your day in Philadelphia sports history, brought to you by the fine folks at the aforementioned Philly Friday Frenzy with Al Zafiri. Tomorrow night at 9, Al will be back to recap your week, get you ready for the weekend, a busy weekend of Philadelphia sports as we get this thing rolling again, taking the night off yesterday and essentially taking the night off tonight. But Philadelphia sports will return in earnest this weekend, and make sure you're there at 9 o'clock to see Big Al get it going for you as he enjoys to do. All right. Yeah, absolutely. I saw that today. Star Wars nails it on the head there. Yeah, I know some of you guys maybe not. It's a local thing, but absolutely. You know, obviously at this time of the year, you never want to lose a loved one. No one should lose a loved one ever, but that's not the way it works. But especially at Christmas time, definitely Star Wars prayers to the Wu family and their hour of pain here as Adam passed away. So absolutely, I agree with you. Very good Star Wars. Can always count on you to bring in the heart. Nick Foles or Jaden Hurts? Who's Jaden Hurts? Is he Jalen Hurts' cousin? Are you asking Star Wars who would I choose? Nick Foles or Jalen Hurts? Well, obviously today I would choose Jalen Hurts. I'm not putting Nick Foles back on the football field. I'd be a little bit more clear. I think I understand what you're asking. Are you asking me to choose between one? I'll tell you what. I'll take the guy whose statue is in front of Lincoln Financial Field. I'll take that guy. I'll take the guy whose statue is in front of Lincoln Financial Field. Listen, that's an interesting debate, and it's not a debate that's held enough. And it's probably going to grow legs here as we get deeper into Jalen Hurts' career and as it eventually winds down. And we start talking all-time quarterbacks. And it's funny because this franchise, even though it's been around since 1933, there isn't much in the quarterback realm when you can like start saying, hands down, this is the guy. I mean, if you look around other positions on this team all time, you can definitely say Reggie White, Brian Dawkins, Harold Carmichael, Mike Quick. There's positions that you can, Wilbert Montgomery, or, there's people that have sort of elevated themselves to that high list. And quarterback, though, seems to be one of those positions on this team that has not really like separated. There's a handful of guys that you could put in the conversation. Donovan McNabb deserves to be in the conversation. Randall Cunningham deserves to be in the conversation. Ron Jaworski deserves to be in the conversation. Nick Foles and Jalen Hurts, all of them deserve to be in that conversation. But if you're asking me, oh man, excuse me, to choose which one I would take now, like if at their prime of their career, is this Jalen Hurts' prime? We'll call that. This is Jalen Hurts' prime versus Nick Foles' prime of his career, which would, I guess, be that 2017, 2018 point. I guess 2017 through 2019. I don't know, man. It's a great question. I did this last year. I don't know. Do I still have it up here? This is an old graphic. If it's still even valid, it's not really valid anymore. Here it is. This was at the end of last season. These numbers have changed, of course, throughout 2025. But this was the comparison between the two of them at the end of 2024. And it was pretty close. And if you got to look at it, Nick Foles did it with a lot less consistency. I mean, he was in and out, up and down, never given the starter's job, always had to like scratch and claw his way to get on that football field. Jalen Hurts was the starter, and it was the obviously when we talk Jalen Hurts in this town, you can't even mention benching him because it's apparently a mortal sin to say so. But if you look at the body of work, now again, this is as of the end of 2024. This is not 2025. Those numbers are not mixed in here. Pretty similar numbers. And Nick Foles did it with a lot less of an opportunity than Jalen Hurts has. So, I mean, if you're asking me to make a decision right now, like it's the fourth quarter, we need to send somebody out there to play quarterback right now with the 2025 Eagles, yeah, send me Nick Foles. Give me Nick Foles. I'll take Nick Foles. Because one of the big time sort of problems with Jalen is, well, allegedly the problems with Jalen is the playbook limitations. There's not much he can do, or there's only so many things he can do. Homers like to sort of wish that away. Every quarterback is limited. Well, yeah, of course, but playbooks, when you bring in, if you bring in as many offensive coordinators as the Eagles do, they all bring in their own playbook. And yes, they got to tailor that playbook down to their talent. But a lot of the playbooks that these offensive coordinators have brought in here have been pretty much scrapped or severely minimized because of the lack of ability to run a complicated offense that Jalen Hurts has. And again, that's not being a hater. That's just being real. There's no way you can sell me that the Eagles offense has got, what, $25 million of money invested in it with some of the best players offensively in this league, that they're still struggling so hard. And it's not Kevin Padullo's fault. It's not. Again, we got to be real here. All right, we got to be real. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard for a lot of homers to be real about it. The problem with the Eagle offense is not the offensive coordinator. Again, I just think you guys got to accept that. And once we accept that, maybe we can move on. But you have an offense that's got the talent that it's got. There's no reason why they're struggling this much. And they've struggled through 16 games of 2025. And they struggled through the first 4 games of 2024 before they decided to run the ball heavily. So it doesn't take friggin' Sherlock Holmes to figure the mystery out here. You don't need Scooby and the gang here. I mean, it's pretty obvious to me. If the limitations rest on the quarterback. Now, I'm not saying Jalen Hurts is garbage. Not. Obviously, he's the quarterback, and I'll take a page from the homers right now. He wins. Not the team, apparently, but Jalen Hurts wins. That's right. Jalen Hurts wins. Not the Eagles, but Jalen Hurts. He's the reason why they're winning. I'm going to take a page out of their book. And he does have a Super Bowl championship. So does Nick Foles. Nick Foles has also got the Super Bowl, the most coveted award can ever be given to an NFL player, apparently, in this town, as far as this town is concerned. The Super Bowl MVP title. That seems to be the most coveted award that anybody can win. But he's also got one of those, too. So if you're asking me to make a decision right now, yeah, send me out prime Nick Foles in a heartbeat. Absolutely. But if Nick can't go, yeah, send out Jalen Hurts. Let's do it. I'm okay with that too. 199s, yes, absolutely. We are on the precipice. I didn't think we were going to get to 200 this year. We were down at like 180 something like a month ago. 180 something about a month ago. And now we're literally at 199. So be that 200. Somebody out there be my 200. Get me to 200 YouTube subscriptions by the end of 2025. That'd be great. I would really appreciate that. Give MattyB a Christmas present. Give me that 200 sub. Bryce Harper is in. Is he in where? WBS. Harper is part of the Team USA World Baseball Classic. I don't know if are they penciling him in as a starter. Is he starting? We'll see where that kind of lays out. But yeah, he is. You too, Mike. Merry Christmas to you, and I hope all is well. I hope you and your family enjoyed yourselves today. I hope everybody and their families enjoyed themselves today. Today was a quiet day for me. I'm not going to tell you what I was into, but it was work involved, not network involved, but a lot of work. It was a pretty the children of this house did pretty well today. And when I say children, I use that term very loosely because there's a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old that live here, far from children. And with the older child or the older person is the more extravagant gift. My wife, let's just say she spent for her son, which eventually goes to me because I'm in charge of this. I keep the collection of the sports cards. She spent over $800 in cards for her son for Christmas. And I spent 6 hours today after he tore through all that, of course, supervising him as he's ripping packs open. What are you doing? Be careful there. I had to go through all the cards, get them cataloged and inventoried, and then put away properly. So that was how I spent my day. Over 500 baseball cards I had to sort through today. So yeah, that's how I spent my day. Woo-hoo, Merry Christmas to me. The problem is, though, if I didn't do it, then nobody would, and they'd lay around, and they would be damaged, and they wouldn't be preserved for the rest of humanity. So I'm doing a service, man. Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber headline the 6 Phillies players who have committed to playing at 6. Well, I believe it's just Schwarber and Harper for Team USA. Then there's the other countries around the world, correct? That's all I'm tracking so far for Team USA. JT, no word on his. Is he joining? Is he going to be part of Team USA this year? Trey Turner, I haven't heard his name added to the roster. Here's the thing, and I think we talked last night with Joe Hale or the other night with him. He asked me what I felt about Harper making the WJC or WBC, and I was like, well, he's a face of Major League Baseball. Talent-wise, does he deserve to be there? Debatable, but promotions, money, marketing, the face of Major League Baseball, yeah, he's one of the stars, and yes, he probably deserves to be there. And I can say the same thing with Kyle Schwarber. There's younger players in this league right now, American players, that are probably more productive overall than Harper and Schwarber. But it's sometimes the name that grabs the headline. So I'm interested to see what Harper's role is with the squad, if he's a starter or if he's coming off the bench or he's the, every other day guy. I would love to see how that's put together because there is a nice blend of young talent and veteran talent on that team. And I like to see where Harper fits in. And it might be interesting to see how Team USA uses him in that mini tournament in March and how that might have reflect on how outside of the Phillies organization, baseball-wise, views Harper's current skill ability and where he's at currently in his career. To get sort of an outside perspective on him on a baseball sense from somebody not named Rob Thompson. It's probably that's where I'm really kind of going to be interested to see how he's used and how much he's used, sort of gauge where maybe we're not seeing what the rest of baseball is. But yeah, absolutely good stuff. Bryce Harper is part of the World Baseball Classic in 2025. So I'm going to do this right now. It is Christmas, but we do this on the show every night, and I'm not going to stop today. Phone lines are open if you want to join in. The conversation is here. We're talking everything tonight because I'm trying to sort of create conversation from really nothing. We're going to get into talking some NFL football here in a second, but everything's on the table. Flyers, I don't care if you want to talk Sixers. We can talk college basketball if you want. Everything you want is on the table. So join the conversation. But let's get into the NFL side of things. Of course, the Eagles did not play today, but the Lions did, and they lost to the Minnesota Vikings, who netted a grand total of 3 passing yards in this game. And they beat them 23-10. And with that loss, the Detroit Lions now fall to 8-8 and are out of the playoffs, eliminated, not in the hunt, on the bubble, gasping for breath. No, man, they eliminated, along with the Minnesota Vikings, who were eliminated before they even started this game. But we literally in the NFC have one playoff spot up for grabs, and that is the NFC South Championship. That is it. Everybody else is in. We're just waiting to see who wins the NFC South. So 6 out of the 7 playoff seeds in the NFC are locked in. It's just waiting on who's going to win that vaunted NFC South, which might come down to the final week, about how the playoffs are. And of course, the Eagles, who are now in a mode of maybe, and I'm saying this because I don't know, how did the Eagles see this in terms of their current health picture? As I mentioned at the top of the show, the usual suspect, Jalen Carter, Lane Johnson, were no-shows at practice yesterday. Then you got A.J. Brown dealing with some problems with his wisdom teeth. He was a no-show. This team is banged up. Do they just take this time, these next 2 weeks, and do whatever they can do to get healthy? Accept their fate as the number 3 seed, or possibly the number 4 seed, and just focus on the bigger prize, and that's a Super Bowl. Or do you go out there against Buffalo? Because there's another side to this argument that says that maybe a game against Buffalo, who is in a divisional playoff hunt and a battle with New England, and they have something to play for on Sunday, and they're going to be playing hard. And if the Eagles go, is this an opportunity for the Eagles to shut up some of their critics about the problems offensively and just sort of holistically with this team all season, and to go into Sunday, do battle with the Bills, shut up the critics, put up 35 points or whatever, or maybe not so much put up points, but play a complete game and make themselves internally feel better? 2 very interesting debates, 2 very interesting conversations. And I don't know necessarily where we should come out on. I mean, it's both sides have a valid point. I'm leaning more towards the resting thing, because who cares what the critics say? Who cares what the outside noise is? It doesn't matter. It's what's happening inside that locker room is all that matters. And if you have an opportunity to sit some players who definitely need some rest, Jalen Carter and Lane Johnson should not play anyway until the playoffs. But get some of these other players off their feet. You know, let's get people ready for the playoffs. And it's going to be really interesting to see as we get into this game and to see the game plan and see how, you know, the rotations are. And it's going to be very interesting to see how that sort of all kind of evolves on Sunday against Buffalo. But I definitely come out on the side of the coin that says sit them. Lions are Star Wars finito. The Christmas was for nothing. What? What Star Wars? For NFL. Oh, you meant today's games were terrible? Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, you started the day off, and that's a great point. There's a good game going on right now. Well, not really, because listen, when you're scheduling these games in friggin' May, or I don't even know when they put the schedule together in April, they release it in May. You would think Commanders Cowboys at Christmas could be for something, right? I mean, the logical person heading into the season would think that. Obviously, it doesn't, and it didn't. 2 teams that were not even going to the playoffs. And then you had the game this afternoon between the Lions and Vikings. Again, you look at what happened last year. I think weren't both those teams 14-2 at this point last year, battling for that NFC North title? So you go into this season to produce the schedule. no one's going to sit there and say the Vikings and the Lions were going to both be like perennial not playoff teams heading into Christmas of 2025. I mean, it makes sense to schedule that game, right? You don't know. All you can do is sort of like guesstimate. And then tonight you got Kansas City and Denver. Again, yeah, Denver on the rise. Kansas City's the sitting dynasty team. I had no idea that Pat Mahomes was going to blow out his ACL and that the Chiefs were done. No, there's just no way to gauge that, especially this late into the season. There's always a crapshoot about how you can schedule games. So obviously it did not work for the NFL this year. They rolled the dice on some games that did not work, and it was somewhat of a boring football Thursday. But if this would have been last year, all three of those games would have been awesome. Just think about it. All three of those games in 2020, if they were played last Christmas, would have been must-see TV. Matter of fact, they all would have been playoff games, battling for playoff positionings. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. And it's unfortunate for the NFL. Well, not really. They're a billion-dollar business anyway. But it did not work for them this year. So it is what it is. And it made for some boring football. I'll give you that. But so let's take a look at the playoff picture real quick in the NFC. Seattle currently is the 1. Bears are 2. Eagles are 3. There is no 4 seed because the 4 seed will be the winner of the NFC South based on records and, of course, based on divisional titles. Your 5 seed currently are the 49ers, 6 are the Rams, and the 7 are the Packers. I mean, I guess the biggest storylines as we battle our way to the end of the season is that 5 through 7, the bracket, because you got 49ers that are 11-4, you got the Rams that are 11-4, and then you got the Packers 9-5-1, and then up top at the 1 seed with Seattle, they're 12-3, but they also reside in the NFC West along with San Francisco and LA. So there could be there is seeding battles going on right now. There's teams that are locked in. 6 out of the 7 are confirmed. It's just a matter of positioning and seedings. And I know we have a tendency to do this, and we are going to do this. That's what we do here. And I mean us, I mean Philadelphia. We're going to start playing mathematician. We're going to start doing the math formulas, carrying the 1, dropping the 3, and all that, and trying to figure out what scenario would benefit the Eagles better. And I have this to say about that. Who cares? They're getting a home playoff game as the 3. They're getting a home playoff game as the 2, and they're also getting a home playoff game as the 4. So you're getting a home playoff game to start, no matter where you come out on the coin. Who cares who your opponent is? You got to play the better teams to get to the Super Bowl anyway. Just accept that. And not to mention, have you forgotten that the Eagles are the defending Super Bowl champions? So there should be no fear on playing anybody in the NFC. So I know a lot of fans are putting their hat on that by saying we got to do our very best in order to play ourselves into a position that greatly favors us come the playoffs. Well, listen, the only 2 things that really matter to me in the playoffs, honestly, from a strategic standpoint, is to get the bye week. That's the big one. You're not getting that. I mean, you have an outside shot at the bye, don't you? Probably not. There's too many tiebreakers involved. Get the bye or get a home playoff game. At least one. And the Eagles already checked the second block. Everything else about opponent and about the day of the week, time of the day, you can't control any of that stuff. Do what you can control. And you have a bigger picture ahead of you, and that's to defend your Super Bowl title. So sit your players. Sitting there for 2 games, is that too much? Maybe. But a game and a half isn't. Play your first half, sit the starters in the second half of the Buffalo game, and then on into the Commanders game as well. So there you have the that's the NFC playoff positioning. And the AFC, the Broncos, Patriots, and the friggin' Jacksonville Jaguars are your top 3. LA and Buffalo are your 5 and 6, and a battle for the 4 seed. Well, actually, yeah, we would be a battle for it's a battle for that, I guess, 4 seed in the AFC North between Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Steelers are 9-6, and the Ravens head into 7-8. So that's a barn burner going on with the AFC North. So a very tight race heading down the stretch. And the parity of the NFL in 2025 on full display today. The Detroit Lions eliminated from playoff contention. Did Vegas take a bath today? Did they take a bath on some stuff today? But there you have it. So that's my NFL thing. Eagles Sunday 4:25 here on Fox, and then right after the game, be here for the Birds Flyby Eagles Bills. Our post game show will cover all the action leading you into, I guess, after that game and into Week 18. A little programming note. I just was informed literally by being on the air. Kyle will not be available this week for the Birds Blast. I just literally found that out. We've been trying to make it happen. He will not be available. So I will do a Birds Blast either tomorrow or Saturday or possibly even Sunday. I just got to find a co-host. And if not, I'll do it solo. But I'm gonna shake the tree and see who falls out. I got a couple people in mind that I'm going to ask. But we're going to try to do what we can and do a Birds Blast before 4 o'clock on Sunday against Buffalo. All right. I owe you a pregame show, and you'll get it. I promise you that. So Kyle Quinn is out this week as he's traveling. It's the holidays. You know, it was a reach to begin with. Kyle really tried. I do appreciate that from him. But he is out this week. But we will do a Birds Blast at some point this weekend. I promise you that. All right, let's move on now to the let's get into the other night segment, because we got 2 things to do in that segment tonight. We're going to break not only a Flyer prospect down, we're going to talk an NHL draft prospect. So let's go into that. All right. It is the other night segment here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. This is the time where we either talk Flyer prospect, Philly prospect, MLB draft target, NHL draft target. We spotlight a player from the Phillies or Flyers if it's applicable, and we have fun. Tonight, we are still firmly entrenched in Flyer prospects for at least another month, and we are going to start incorporating NHL draft targets in. We've already started that. Tonight will be our second or third one we've done all year. But we're going to turn the heat up on the NHL draft prospects as well. And then leading into later into January, start spotlighting those Phillies players, as hopefully we get a Phillies roster here soon to talk about, as we are literally like less than 2 months away. Less than 2 months away from the start of spring training, or from when pitchers and catchers report. I think if you do the math, this would be literally 2 months from today is the first spring training game. I want to say that. I think it's the 25th of February or the 24th, around there. So we are really at the 2 month mark of the start of spring training games. Less than 2 months away from the start of spring training. About 2 months away from the start of spring training games. But tonight we're going to talk Flyer prospect, and we're going to talk a good friend of ours, a player that we've been very high on in the show. I've been very high on. Noah Powell. The right wing, who on this slide played for Ohio State. When he was drafted by the Flyers in 2024 in the 5th round, he played for Ohio State. Well, very interesting. I don't know what the hell's going on with this guy, but so he was with Ohio State. Now, when was this? This was 24-25, right? So the year the Flyers drafted him in the 24 draft, he was coming off of a season with the Dubuque, good God, Fighting Saints of the USHL. He had committed to go to Ohio State. He played 17 games for Ohio State in 24-25 season last year. Then he didn't transfer. He dropped out, went to the OHL, the Ontario Hockey League, hooked on with the Oshawa Generals, played 28 regular season games and 21 playoff games with them, finished the season with Oshawa. And then this fall, re-entered the NCAA and is now in Arizona State. So he went from the USHL to the NCAA to the OHL back to the NCAA. Very interesting situation here. So far through 16 games with Arizona State this year, he's got 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points, and a +2. I liked Noah Powell when they drafted him. A 6'2", 201 pound right wing. Powell's an intelligent, inside-driven power forward who easily manipulates opponents. He baits defenders to charge at him, then intercepts them with a shoulder and attacks the inside. I guess the big, and that's his Dubuque Fighting Saints shirt. I'm probably not saying that right. From a couple years ago. I guess the sort of the inside track on Noah Powell, that what I'm hearing is that he's just not having it's been going from the USHL to the NCAA was a very hard adjustment for him. And the thinking was him going to the OHL and major junior hockey, the game's a little faster, the ice is a little bit more opened up, and that would be more beneficial to him. Now, when he did go up there last year in 28 games with Oshawa during the regular season, 9 goals, 13 assists for a +25 for a +8. In the playoffs, 21 games, 4 goals, 10 assists, and a 0 on the +-. So a little bit more offensive production in the OHL with more open ice, a faster type of game seemed to really benefit him. But for some odd reason, he's back in the NCAA with Arizona State this year. And the Flyers, I guess as soon as he kind of figures himself out, he's probably going to spend at least this year and next year somewhere else than the Flyers. But the Flyers will have to make a decision on him really soon, actually, because right now I don't think they've signed him. He is unsigned. So they got another year with him. By next spring, they got to make a decision whether or not to sign him. But Noah Powell, the 5th-round pick in the 2024 NHL draft, is your Flyer prospect of the night. The man who can't decide whether to go to the NCAA or major junior hockey. But big time fan of him, man. I'm a big fan of the Eagles season. Yeah, it's going on, little G. How you been? Hope you had a great Christmas. Penn State plays Saturday. They do, and we got you covered here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. Penn State, Clemson, and the Pinstripe Bowl. Mike Lara will have the final edition of the Happy Valley Huddle for 2025. Hopefully it's a Penn State win. All right, we got one more prospect to talk about, and we're going to go into the NHL draft. We're going to break down a player from the 26, a potential draft target in the 2026 NHL draft. We did one earlier, like a couple weeks ago. This will be our second one. We're going to at least target 35 of these kids before they get to the draft night. And here's our second player of that draft targeting. Mikey Burchild, he's a forward for the United States National Team Development Program that plays in the USHL. A 5'10", 181 pound. He can play left, right, or center. That's why they have him listed as a forward. He's all over the place. Very much similar to the Flyers' newest addition this year, Denver Berkey. And you guys saw him make his NHL debut a few games ago. Very undersized, very underweight, very young looking. I mean, this kid looks like he's 13. But, of course, Denver Berkey also looks like he's about 13. And he translated, at least for the first 2 games of his career, pretty well to the NHL level. So he kind of, Mikey Burchild, who's probably at least 4 years away from even smelling professional hockey at this point of his life, could be a good investment for a team. The maturity of his game really popped, and I thought he put in the work to be proud of from a talent standpoint. Burchild continuously pops with his shooting ability and having pretty solid overall skill and decent skating with some runaway to improve upon. He drives to play well and was an exceptional motor for whatever deficiencies he may have currently. He is able to make up for it with a great work rate. And that's kind of, if you look at that, that's kind of what Denver Berkey has done up to this point, defying the odds with his size and his weight and his physical stature. You know, he keeps on defying the odds of people saying you don't belong in the NHL, you can't play at this level, you're too small, you're too young looking. But sometimes, all the time, you can't judge a book by its cover. And Mikey Burchild might be that type of player for another team to look at who has some long-term goals involved with him. Now, he's not coming into your program next year in the 26-27 season, and he's going to be an NHLer day one. He's not. He's a back-end first-round pick if he's in the first round at all. But he's somebody that you could probably invest in to give him some more time to develop. I believe he's committed to Minnesota next year to go to college. So you can look at him in that ilk. He'll get higher level competition, continue to grow that game. And if that motor and that work rate and that ethic continue to sort of mature along with his game, it's not really going to matter how tall or how big he is. And if he understands what his purpose is and what his game is. So definitely someone to keep your eye on as we get closer to the draft and on draft night. I'd be interested to see where he might fall in that first round or even maybe second round or possibly third round. But Mikey Burchild from the USNTDP, the United States National Team Development Program of the USHL, our 2026 NHL Draft Prospect breakdown of the night. So there you have it, man. Did two of them tonight, man. We did NHL Draft and we did our of the night segment. Two Flyers, potential Flyers prospects. We'll see. But all right. And that was brought to you by the Locks, Props, and Parlay program with Mike Laro every Tuesday night at 8. Mike was not on this past Tuesday as he dealt with some scheduling issues of his own, but he will return this coming Tuesday, and we'll take you to the end of the NFL and college football seasons, giving you the best in locks, props, and parlays. No pressure sports betting for entertainment purposes only. So make sure you're there. Make sure you're also there for Mike's other project, which, of course, is the Philly AM sports program, seen every Sunday morning at 9. Al and Mike doing what they do on Sunday mornings to get you started for your day, and typically leads into this show, the Steelers pre- and post-game Steel City Sunday, and here's the entire crew for post and pre-game. They got you covered, and they will be back on Sunday to get you ready for the Steelers game. And then the other two Pittsburgh sort of shows that we do, the Pittsburgh Sports Desk, it can be seen every Wednesday at 8, right? Yeah, Wednesday at 8, or is it Tuesday at 8? It's Wednesday at 8. And then our newest show, the Pittsburgh Sports Tonight program, every Monday and Tuesday at 7 p.m. And then bookended with the Gridiron Weekly every Thursday at 7, or Thursday at 8. So chock full of entertainment here on the network. Some of these shows are in their holiday hiatus, but they'll be back here very soon. All right, it's going to take me to our final segment of the night, my favorite segment, one I look forward to all day to do. Here we go. All right, yes, the MattyB's card review. And again, as I said earlier in the show, being that it's Christmas and that a lot of you have spent some amount of time today sitting underneath a Christmas tree, assembling toys, putting batteries in something, putting together something, hooking cables into something, downloading something off the internet to get some sort of new device working. I did a similar thing today as well in this house, but it was more on the lines of sports cards as my wife went over the limit, or not over the limit, but beyond expectations by providing my stepson and her son over 500 sports cards. I mean, there were 500 that I inventoried and put into our collection, but there was a good amount that went into the team boxes that are not necessarily inventoried by us because, well, let's face it, they're just not sexy enough, right? But I spent my day pretty much going through about 500 of these cards, making sure that they were properly inventoried and properly recorded for prosperity and for financial purposes. And one of the cards that I ran into today is going to be tonight's featured card because it hits home to me in so many different ways. Now, you know I'm a Topps baseball card. I wouldn't call it aficionado, but Topps is the king of baseball cards. And everybody who collects cards or is even knows what baseball cards are, well, I shouldn't say that. Many of you don't know this, but Topps has got themselves a cycle every year, right? We are literally 2 months, so less than 2 months. Less than 2 months, about 6.5 weeks away from the debut of the 2026 Topps Series 1 baseball cards, as we'll get things rolling again in 2026. And the way Topps does this There's 6 main series of cards that are released throughout a calendar year in the Topps world. There's more than 6 series, but there's 6 major ones that collectors and fans of Topps cards and fans of baseball cards are pretty keen to. And the first one is the Topps Series 1, and that comes out typically around Valentine's Day. And that gets your, sort of whets your appetite for the upcoming baseball season. Then sometime in the early summer, June, mid-June, June-ish, Topps Series 2 comes out. Now, Series 1, let's face it, no new data is accumulated. It's just pretty much leftover stuff from 2025. There's no really new players that players that might be emerging out of spring training or down in different camps around the country. They're not featured here because they obviously don't know if they're going to get to the major leagues yet. It's pretty much repackaged stuff from 2025 with a new card design for the new year. So that's Topps Series 1. Now, Topps Series 2, which comes out in June, May, June-ish, kind of sort of catches up a little bit with some of the more updated players that might not have made it through Series 1. For example, Andrew Painter would probably be an example of a player that's not going to be featured in Topps Series 1 in 2026. But if he makes the Phillies and he sticks, well, actually, if he makes the Phillies and pitches one game, he will be featured in Topps Series 2 because, he's part of the roster. So players like him, players that come from camp or just sort of come from somewhere else that were on the roster to start the season or at the end of 25 or boom, featured in Series 2. Now, right around the same time Series 2 is released, Topps Heritage cards come out as well. And it's sort of a companion series, nothing major, just kind of in a more of an old school type of way that the cards kind of look like. And we've done Heritage cards on this show before. Now, sometime in late summer, I'm talking August, September timeframe, Topps Chrome comes out. And that's really nothing more than a churched up version of Series 1 and 2. It's the same design, but just in the Chrome setting with the Chrome carding and all that. It's just a higher value type of card. Then you got a little bit later on in October, the Topps Holiday Series cards come out. And they're the ones that we featured those a few times here on the program. We did me and my stepson, my wife got us a advent calendar of Topps baseball cards, of Topps holiday cards this year that we used. That comes out at the end of October, right? The Topps Holiday Series cards. And then into somewhat mid-November, then we get into sort of the granddaddy stuff. We get into the Topps Update Series, which is typically captures all the players that showed up that weren't captured before, players that were traded at the trade deadline or are now on different teams, players that were released in anytime during the season and are on now different teams. Sort of a kind of cleans up everything and gives you the biggest, most updated version of the baseball card of that player. And then the granddaddy, the piece de resistance at the end of the year, which is in December 15th, December 20th, around that time frame, Topps Update Series Chrome is the one everyone's looking for. That's the set where you get the that's the infamous Paul Skeens card was part of last year. The 1/1 Paul Skeens auto relic card that was that went for $1.11 million in an auction last winter. That's the set everyone looks for. Matter of fact, as my wife was telling me the story of how she got all the cards, because a lot of the cards that she ended up getting us were Topps up, or I don't say us, I mean him, were Topps Updates Chrome, and she literally cleared half the shelf off because once they show up on the shelves, you got to get them because they're going to go. But she literally cleared half the shelf off into her cart, and when she went to go check out, they wouldn't let her check out because it was too many cards. So she had to literally disperse her transactions. She had to give some cards to some boxes to her daughter, who went and checked out at a different aisle. Her daughter's boyfriend was there. He got some cards to go check out. I mean, it was so stupid. But anyway, we ended up coming out of this deal with a lot of Topps Update Chrome. And tonight we're going to talk about one of them. And it hits home. It hits home for me because it's a player that the Phillies, former first-round draft pick, struggled to get to the major league level. got to the major league level with the Phillies last year, and honestly performed well when here, but now has been sent off, traded. A mid-season trade that I fear is going to come back and hurt the Phillies at some point down the road. And I speak of the man, the myth, the legend, Mick Abel. And this is Mick Abel's 2025 Topps Update Series Chrome rookie card. His MLB debut card, as you can see down there on the bottom, where it has his date where he his first MLB start, which of course wasn't it during that Weather Day game? Wasn't it like the game that he struck out 9? He tied the rookie record of most strikeouts for a rookie pitcher in a debut for the Phillies in Philly history. And of course, now he's part of the Minnesota Twin organization, and he'll probably be part of the Minnesota Twins opening day roster as part of the rotation. But this is Mick Abel's 2025 Topps Update Series Topps Update Series Chrome card. Now, there is a Mick Abel wearing Minnesota Twin uniform card out there. I just haven't found it yet, and it's also in this series. But this is his refractor from the Topps Update Series Chrome. Pretty cool looking card. It's a Chrome card. It's a rookie card. And I'm telling you, it's a card of a pitcher that's going to be, I fear he's going to bite the Phillies. This trade's going to hurt the Phillies, either through the Mick Abel aspects of this trade or the Eduardo Tait aspects of this trade. It's going to hurt the Phillies in some way. And it's a pretty cool looking card. It's about $3 right now, and it's very sporadic. It's not on many of the sites I trust. It hasn't shown up there yet, meaning that they haven't gotten out there yet. They're still trying to find them. But it's a cool looking card. Obviously, the Chrome design is like one of my favorite. And it's a refractor, as you can kind of see. Mick is a little bit sort of walking out of the card towards you. And it's a really cool card. And it's card number USC87 from, again, the Chrome Update Series 2025 Topps. About $3 right now on a site that I did find it. Not necessarily reputable, but it has moved already for about $3 this year. So, again, pretty sporadic card, pretty rare at this point, as it's sort of not hit the general population yet because it just came out. But there it is. Very cool card, a very cool pitcher. I think it's going to bite the Phillies in the ass. Mick Abel, 2025 Topps Update Series Chrome. And that's going to take us to the end. Christmas Day Spectacular 2025 is in the books. Christmas is in the books. We now we go full speed into New Year's, full speed into your weekend. Let's talk about the schedule again real quick. And here we go. Tomorrow you got the Philly Friday Frenzy, Saturday Penn State Oregon postgame, and then all the stuff on Sunday. And a programming note, as notified by me or to me while on the air, Kyle Quinn will not be available for the Birds Blast, but we will give you a Birds Blast. It will happen either tomorrow, Saturday, or even Sunday. I'll fit it in somewhere on Sunday if I have to. So be on the lookout for that and more information to follow. So there's our schedule for the rest of the week. You guys, I hope you had a great Christmas. And one last time from all of us to all of you, Merry Christmas, everybody. And let me be the first, Happy New Year's. All right. As we get ready for 2026, let's bring in the new year in style. I'm at 199, or I was. Get me at 200 on YouTube. That would be greatly appreciated as we march into 2026 with our heads held high here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. I will see you guys again on Sunday with this show. You will see me again some point this weekend with the Birds Blast. I promise you that. So be on the lookout for that. Until then, you guys take care. Have a great night. Enjoy your Christmas weekend. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas.